What kind of an impression did Earl make on you, obviously?
Well, Earl was, one of those guys. I mean, probably one of the biggest impact that he had on me because, when I first got there, I was terrified of him and things of that nature. But, that last game against the team up north, the week he got fired and, he never said anything about it and just really was more concerned about the team and us going up there and getting that victory. To me, that really expressed what teamwork is all about, and that when you're in a team, regardless if it's football field or in business, it's not about you. It's about everyone else. And the other thing, after the game, that's his last game. He still called me in, I think it was that Tuesday or something like that, into his office, letting me know, and if Earl, pointing that finger at my face, telling me that I had to get my, the passion that he had for me, just, because I have engineering students talking about, I know you're going to get drafted, but you better finish your engineering degree. I mean, for a guy like that to be that concerned about you, I mean, that was pretty impressive, and that's why I always say he's my man, and appreciate a lot of things, everything that he did for me.
You guys had the ultimate adversity to deal with that week, and somehow you got through it. Was it Earl? Was it the seniors? I mean, how did you get through that week? We have a football team, and I know we can't talk specifics, that's dealing with their own style of adversity, but this isn't a game week. You guys were in a game week in the biggest game of the year, and you went up and got it done. How were you able to block all that noise out of what was going on and just focus on beating Michigan?
And I say, and that's the thing that was amazing. That whole week, that never came up about, Chris and I and Tupa and Eric Kummer, we went to see the athletic director and the president and all that, trying to ask the reason why, which didn't really give us good answers. But like I say, he never mentioned it. It was never about him or, being sad. I mean, he was still coaching the way Coach Bruce coached, so it was never like it was something that we talked about. I mean, he was still focused on that team up north. He wanted to beat them because that was a very important game and the most important game all year, every year. And, so if it's something that he's not bringing up and no one's talking about it in the building, it's not something you're going to talk about. And I believe that's probably the same thing they're probably doing over there at the facility now. So it was really about the team and not him. You see, that's the difference, I think, when you look at the acronym of team, together, everyone achieves more. Not worried about yourself, everybody achieves more. And that's what his focus was, and that's what we learned, and that's what we did. So,
visiting with William White, former Buckeye, I'm going to say it, former Buckeye great, even though you're too humble to say it. He's going to be speaking at the Fedora Ball, which I'll be at. It's Friday. If you're interested, by the way, you can still buy tickets. You can go to joinathletesagainst-alzheimer's.org. It's at Hollywood Casino. It's going to be a great event on Friday night to raise money for Athletes Against Alzheimer's. We're in the middle of training camp right now, and Stan and I were just talking about the differences. When Stan was in camp with Coach Cooper, it was 2 and 3 a days. When you were in camp with Earl, it was 2 a days and 3 a days. Nowadays in football, it's just one practice every day, and it is the doldrums of camp right now for those guys. But what is it like when you're in this stage of camp, William? What are these kids going through at this stage, your son being one of them, in terms of the physical toll, the mental toll? How difficult is training camp when you hit these dog days of August?
Well, I always tell people, the training camp is like the foundation of your season. When you look at a foundation, that's the toughest, hardest part of building any building or any house. That's the one that matters the most. If you don't have a good foundation, your house ain't going to stand. The building's not going to stand. So you put in the grind and the hard work and all that other stuff in that foundation, in that training camp season, because, when you go on to the season, that's what's going to make you have a good season. And as I always tell kids and people, at the end of the day, you win national championship, you win the Big Ten and all that other stuff. The last thing on your mind is what? Training camp and all the hard work you went through. But if it's not for that hard work and embracing that, you'll never get there. It can't be easy. You can't have an easy life and all that other stuff and expect to be great. And, Ohio State, we trying to win a national championship, so we should have a very grueling, grinding. Although I I must admit, it's hard for me to call it training camp since they only allowed to practice once a day.
Yes, I know. It's way
again,
different.
going back again, like you said, with Coach Bruce, we had 3 a days.
Yes, it's way different now. Yeah.
And all three times we was hitting each other in the mouth and smacking. You know what I'm saying? So it's a little bit different, just a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, William, I want to tie those two topics together, Earl and training camp, and one other aspect of Earle Bruce that I think everybody saw, which was the importance of being loyal to Ohio State, being that true Buckeye. Of all the people I've met here, all the players, coaches, I can't think of anybody who embodied the true Buckeye spirit more than Earle Bruce, really, honestly. So as you went through a camp and as you went through a season with Earl, how important was that, and how often was he reminding you guys of the school that you played for and how important it was to maintain that tradition? Even as you're sweating everything off right in the middle of training camp and all the way through till November in that last game against Michigan.
Well, again, it's like you said, it's that Buckeye family. He talks a lot about we being Buckeye family, and even when you're going through the 2018 season or the 1984-85 season, he will talk a lot about the 1970s and, those teams because you're still representing them. So that's what makes the tradition so valuable, and everything is, you're not just playing for yourself or just for this moment. It is the Ohio State University that has that reputation, and that you want to keep it at that high level. So you do that grind. So you don't want to be. I mean, that's one of the things that we were upset about Earl. We know we couldn't go to a bowl game, so that was very heartbreaking for all 4 of us as captains. We had to be seniors and the captains of the team that in the last 30 years didn't go to a bowl game. Mm-hmm. That's not cool.
No,
William, does that?
So you want, huh?
I was just going to say, does that still live in you today? And is it something that you've passed along to your son as you probably talk to him and he's like, oh, man, it was tough today or whatever? I imagine that's something that you try to impart upon him as well.
Well, I've been imparting on that all the time, so he's probably already over that part because he don't come to me whining.
Yeah.
Like the same thing I say about homework. Don't look at his homework, look at his practice. You got to grind in that as well if you want to do well. So, you work hard to achieve the things you want to do. And, that's part of Buckeye Nation and Buckeye family. That's just what we do. We do whatever it takes to stay at the elite group.
Well, William,
and everybody embrace it. And once you embrace that, you don't mind the hard work. You know what I'm saying? Because it's something that's like what we do.
Exactly. Hey, William, thanks for taking a few minutes for us, and I look forward to Friday night and seeing you there, and appreciate everything you do for Coach Bruce's family, and the Fedora Ball should be a blast Friday. Thanks for joining us.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you guys for having me on.